Well, good morning everyone, or good afternoon, or whenever you're watching this video. So this is about a coffee maker hack that I've performed. It's not that complicated, but in my mind, it's worth sharing because if you need coffee, you need coffee, and having the delay function is essential. So what happened was, in a previous video, I tried to repair a coffee maker, but due to the fact that they had welded the fuses together, I could not actually solder it on because of the temperatures surrounding those wires. So I was not able to solder it, and at the time I didn't have a welder, plus welding those wires would have been difficult. Anyway, so what I did was I took the clock delay module off of that thing, saving it for, any kind of thing I would like to have, like a light that comes on in the morning or whatever the case may be. So I held on to that, and I just happened to buy a coffee maker recently. And in my haste of buying a coffee maker, I forgot to get one with a delay mechanism. So it came in quite handy to have this. So what I've done is connected the hot and neutral from this coffee maker to this relay module, which has a hot, neutral, and switched hot. So this thing turns on the coffee maker. And at this point, I'm going to open up the coffee maker and see if I can mount this inside, or at least so it's more feasible to have as my control, because all this is just a switch, and I don't need the switch. That's just to make sure that the coffee maker's on, so I can just short those wires together, or I can mount them in here. So we'll just see what needs to be done. Alright, thankfully there are no security screws, those odd ones that are forked, or whether they're a tri-head instead of a Phillips, or whatever the case may be. So they're all normal Phillips screws, so I can open up this unit, and it is not plugged in. So please, if you want to replicate this, be aware of electrical power. And they hit some screws under the feet here. Alright, here are the fuses I mentioned earlier. This actually looks identical to the one I opened up before. So we have two fuses, I believe they're thermal, and then we have another thermal fuse in series. So there are a total of 3 fuses. This one is resettable. I don't know if these are resettable, because when it burned out, it was open and it did not go back to being shut. That could just be mechanical and it just happens. So anyway, I believe this is the main resettable one there, ceramic. I probably shouldn't tap on it. You can see that there is a panel here which is a different material than the actual case of the rest of the coffee maker, and the reason for that is because they don't want to spend money on making another case with a programmable versus a switch. So they'll sell you the switch one for a bit cheaper than the one with the programmable logic. Unfortunately, the size of my programmable clock here is a bit larger, so I'm going to need to cut this down a little bit in order for it to fit inside there. But in the meantime, I can remove this. Shouldn't be too hard. There we go. So now the switch is out of the circuit, well, out of the case, and we can find a way to mount this guy in there. Hopefully it won't look too bad, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to need some hot glue. Okay, I removed the plastic cover from the clock mechanism here, and there is an 8-bit microcontroller on there. The model number is EM78P156NPJ, and I looked that up online for a data sheet. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure, I'm not really that familiar with the manufacturer, which is EMC. So hopefully we can see this all right. And so here it is. Elan Microelectronics Corporation. Alright, so here's the data sheet for the microcontroller, which is in the clock here. Now, something odd that I thought they should have done and they didn't was they did not use a crystal. They used the ERC mode. And, I mean, you don't need to get 20 megahertz to run a clock or anything like that, but at the same time, with a crystal, you get the stability of time. And I have noticed that this clock does run a little fast, so a crystal probably would have been a good idea. Anyway, I just thought it was fun to look up the datasheet for the microcontroller, and it is indeed actually a microcontroller. It's not an ASIC or, you know, one of those things covered with epoxy, something like that. So yeah, it's cool. And if you really want to have some fun, you could, you know, replace it with an AT Mega or an AT Tiny and do what you wanted to do. And as I stated before, this is too large to mount onto this unit, so what I'm going to do is mount it like so. So the clock's here. I might actually resolder these connections so it's more flush with the face of the coffee maker here. So it's a little more flush, hopefully, because right now the clock sticks out pretty far. So hopefully I can get that back. And also, I'm going to use the original faceplate that had the switch on it and modify it, drill some holes into the plastic so I could access these with a safety pin or something along those lines. Because honestly, I don't need to change anything other than reset the delay every morning, and I can maybe make a switch for that or an extension of a switch. Alright, stay tuned. Alright. So here I am several days later, and yeah, I'm never going to do a project that's so important to me as coffee. So anyway, lesson learned there. So what I opted to do was actually make little mounts here. So I can mount the printed circuit board right here. That way I have access to all of the buttons. And while I was working on this, I accidentally broke one of the lands on the back here. So I had to install a little jumper wire. But you can see that little orange wire there, hopefully. Yeah, I had to solder that into place, and now all of the segments work. Initially, or after I broke it, this segment here, segment B, was burned out on all of the digits. So that made it difficult to read, whether it was 5 or 9 or whatever the case may be. And now I'm just going to go ahead and mount this on here. Close up the coffee maker, tape this cable underneath the coffee maker, and mount the relay box onto the back of the coffee maker. Alright, stay tuned. Hopefully this will work, because I'm tired of not having coffee in the morning. Alright, so I've successfully mounted the control module with the clock on it to the front of the coffee maker, and the relay is mounted to the side here. So it runs underneath the coffee maker, like so. And it works just like a programmable one. Obviously, it would have been more efficient to buy a programmable one, but it's a lot of fun to hack things together and make them your own, and also have them look so awesome in my mind. So anyway, thanks for watching. And actually, after making this, or disassembling it and everything, I thought it was quite interesting they used an 8-bit microcontroller on there. Kind of wants me to make my own, but we will see if I do that. Alright guys, take care. Thanks for watching.